Welcome back. You are listening to 98.5 CKWR. This is the 519 Sports Online Radio Show. We will be with you every Monday night going forward from 7 to 7:30, bringing you the best in local sports, getting you caught up on everything that happened and everything that is coming up. Right beside me to my left, the head coach of the Waterloo Wolves Minor Midget team, Mr. Shawn Dietrich. Welcome to the show, Shawn.
Thank you, Darren.
So, how's your summer been, right? You opened training camp on Thursday. Hope you enjoyed it, because the next, 200 days are going to be pretty busy for you.
Yeah, summer's been great. Weather's been great, but it's been short-lived, but also rejuvenated, ready to go. Just looking at the calendar, for example, we have one Saturday off until the end of the season, and that's on Labor Day. So as you said, it ramps up pretty quick here.
How excited are you for this group? It changes every year. What is it about this group that gets you excited the most?
Well, you're right. Every year we do get a new crop of players, which is nice at this age level. But this group is a really tight-knit group. They have a real solid character. They have a winning tradition the last 2 years, so we're excited to try to push that continuing winning feeling going forward. Minor Midget is a tough league to win, but we really like our core of guys.
And you know what I love about minor midget hockey? It's just the raw emotion. A lot of people forget these are 15-year-old kids. They're going into their OHL draft year. There's so much passion on the ice, and being around it last year, as I was, a lot more than I had been in previous years, it's a lot of fun to watch. And I know that sounds really simplistic, but these guys, yes, they're out there because they want to try to get drafted and they want to showcase their skills, but the passion these kids have is unmatched. It really is.
Well, I always say it's probably, locally to come watch hockey. We have lots of opportunities, whether it's university hockey, the Kitchener Rangers, and the OHL, but minor midget hockey is exactly that. These kids show up every day and work very hard, and the passion for the game is just, it's unmatched, and it's nice to walk into Rim Park and see these guys work hard, and it's a big thing for me as this age group, and being in my 10th year, I really love it, because these guys check in and give you 120% all the time, and the passion for their goals and to win it is unmatched.
Have you just changed the sports cliche, Shawn? From 110% to 120%?
Yes.
Maybe this is something we could start. We'll get the 120. We'll get your players this year to say, you know what, Darren, I gave 120%. That will be the Waterloo Wolves motto this year. They will give 120%. Some of the players that you think about this year, Cooper Way obviously comes to mind right away. A real leader, a real quality kid as well. But as you look at the roster sort of up and down, where do you think your strengths are, and who are some of the names that we're going to be talking a lot about this year with the Waterloo Wolves Minor Midget team?
Well, and I think our strength is in exactly that, is we could probably list 12 guys right off the hop that say these are our key guys, but because the depth in the core is a big core that we're going to rely on a lot of guys. But you're right, Cooper is the leader of this team. Mm-hmm. He's a real mature kid that leads by not just example of work ethic on ice, off ice, but just how he carries himself. I've seen him talking to younger players in the rink, how he deals with my staff on ice, how he deals with the guys in the gym, and also pushes his teammates to be better. And so Cooper is a real key player for us.
And the coaching staff has changed a little bit this year, and I'm sure that's the nature of minor midget hockey. You go through different seasons. I can't imagine how many coaches you've had over the decade that you've been doing this, Shawn. Introduce us to some of your new assistant coaches this year. There's a couple of mainstays, but you do have a couple of new faces this year. What are you hoping they bring to the team, and what are some of the roles that you sort of defined for them in order to make this team successful?
Well, and that's a big thing too, is our staff. We ask dedication and commitment from our players, and it's just as important from the staff, but it's them being volunteers, it is harder. So we've built a staff. So I brought in three new faces. Derek Leibold, whose dad is Dan Leibold, the
Kitchener Rangers fame.
Kitchener Rangers, yes. And so Derek will run my D-Corps, and my main assistant coach, Darren Rose, who was Derek's assistant last year. Derek was actually the head coach of Cambridge Major Midget, so we've brought Darren with him. Darren is a real X and O guy, so he'll be on my bench working on both ends, and he's more of a teacher. And then Kyle Cromie is new to my staff, and he works on and off ice skills. So he'll put our guys through game day warm-ups, on ice in practice, he's a real energetic guy that loves working with kids. So he'll kind of bring that energy to the guys. And then Bill Gilmore has been with me now for, I believe this is 5 years, fifth year with me, sorry, if I do the math correctly. And he works with my forward crew. And then Joanna Padalino is my trainer, and this is her 5th year with me as well. So a couple of mainstays, 3 new faces, but a real quality group. You know, as we keep dealing with new set of players every year, I try to get as much continuity with my staff,
Right.
but also bringing in younger staff to keep me younger and keep me energetic. So
You're not that old. Hayden Palladino is the goaltending coach. I thought he did a wonderful job last year with Matanuska and Graham Noah. You had a great goaltending tandem last year. We mentioned Anuska a minute ago, signing with the Waterloo Siskins, obviously getting drafted into the OHL by the Kingston Frontenacs. Touch on Hayden for a second and some of the attributes that he brings as well.
Yeah, it was Hayden's first year last year. He's a young kid that wanted to get in coaching, but he's very committed, dedicated, willing to learn. And you know what I look from him is not to change a goalie style during the year, but really be a friend to my goalies. That as a head coach, I don't deal with my goaltenders a lot, other than some odd conversations. But Hayden is a friend with them. He's kind of the ear to them. He's a great job in practice, but he's really close to my goaltenders and just kind of gets the pulse of with how they're feeling. Whether it's a rotation that maybe I'm switching a rotation with goalies, how they're feeling in practice. Maybe they're a little tired. So he's learning, but he's also had a really good first year. And I know my 2 guys last year really got along with him well.
What's your role? We've talked about everybody else's. It's a big role, and what I mean by that is it's a lot more than coaching, right? You have a lot of different things that you have to manage both on and off the ice, and I'm sure you feel most at home in your comfort zone when you're just on the bench coaching the hockey game. Describe your role in everything with the Waterloo Wolves Minor Midget program. Then we'll get into, obviously the decade that you've been doing this and why you're so passionate about it, but this is more than just a coaching job for you, Shawn.
100%. And you know what? I tell young coaches, so even my 3 guys that are new to me this year, there is way more to coaching than the X and O's or just knowing the game. And you're right, I wear a lot of hats. When I was coaching at University of Waterloo, we used to always laugh at that. We'd talk to NCAA teams, and they'd have a marketing person. They would have this person, this person, this person. And even in Canadian University, the coaches did everything. And it's kind of like that in minor midget. So yes, we've got into social media, so we have a guy to do that. I know you help us out here with that as well. But my job really is, yes, the head coach of the team, but, for example, our alumni event, putting all that together, staying in touch with my players from the past 10 years, trying to get out as much, building relationships with our minor and major Adam teams so that kids are coming out to the rink. They're part of our program and coming out, getting out to the parent group and talking to the younger players, their families on what is expected to be part of minor midget.
Right.
Obviously, practice implementation. Our guys have a strength coach that I don't have to be part of, but popping my head in there. Being invisible in the community, coach development with other guys in the system. So when you start going down that list, there's not a lot of just standing behind the bench and creating your team. There is a lot going on.
We are chatting with Shawn Dietrich, the head coach of the Waterloo Wolves Minor Midget team here on the 519 Sports Online radio show on FM 98.5 CKWR. Shawn, you've been doing this for 10 years now. A decade. I'm sure you've had other opportunities potentially to move on to different places or different areas, but clearly this is where your heart is. What do you love about this age group so much? And I don't know, can you describe 10 years in 2 minutes? Probably not, but this is your love and this is where you want to be, right?
Well, I think it'll actually be a great timing of the question with dealing with the alumni stuff and reaching out to 10 years of guys.
Yeah.
I think the answer to the part 1 of that is why this age level, my passion and why I love it so much. And I do love the age group because of how we kind of started our conversation of guys are so committed and passionate at this age group. So we're dealing with kids that want to be there. There's no really, you're not worried as a coach of guys coming through the dressing room door and not giving you to go back to the 120%.
120%, everybody, Waterloo Wolves.
So, that's part. So I love that part of it. And we can really push the guys, right, as far as we need to push. Right? Kind of my philosophy is I challenge my players to outwork me, and if they can outwork me, then I'll raise the bar and keep pushing them, and that's the nice part of this age level. And the second part of that is why I said it kind of ties into the alumni. Is the biggest thing for me is building the relationship with these players. And I was just reading a book by Mike Krzyzewski, the Duke coach, and he talks about how you're building a team and relationship building. And that's the key part, is building relationships with these players. As much as we get a new crop of players every year, Chase Campbell, for example, every year comes back and talks to my players. Past captains or players come back and talk to my guys. And I'm also reaching out to every one of my 10-year players from the last 10 years about this alumni event, and it's amazing the response we get. And yes, not everybody's coming because of vacation or busyness, so they're off, moved into their billets playing in the OHL, but we're going to have 40 guys playing in the game on Saturday, and probably 70 of our 140 players in the past 9 years come to the event. So
it's pretty amazing. And I'm sure for them it's amazing too. You get to catch up with guys that, you know what it's like in hockey. Everybody goes different places. They're playing Junior A, Junior B, CCHL, wherever it is they end up. And they get to come home to Waterloo. And like you say, once a Wolf, always a Wolf as well, right? So, for them, I'm sure it's a great opportunity. It is Saturday, August 11th, so this coming Saturday. Give us some of the details, just on the alumni game. I know Nate Allenson, I can think of that name. I'm sure there's a ton more. Give us an idea of some of the players that you can see at Rim Park this Saturday.
Yeah, so you're right. It's at 3:30 at Rim Park on Saturday, so we have an hour-and-a-half slot. They're going to play a game. We have music, just like a normal regular season game. It's reffed, and we're going to have an honorary puck draw. Some honorary coaches come out. And some of the players, the nice part is it's 9 years of players playing in the game, as current guys won't be playing, but every age group for 9 years is represented, whether it's two guys from that 1 year or 10 guys from 1 year. Every age group back to the 94 borns up to 2002 are represented. We could go down the laundry list of players, but I go back to my 95, Kyle Platzer, who's currently playing in the AHL. He'll be there. Former captain Nick Hurst, who is also a captain of the Waterloo Siskins. With my 98 born guys, Chase Campbell, who's also my captain, currently playing in Owen Sound in the OHL. Nate Schnarr, from my 99s, Nick King, who's in North Bay right now. Trying to go down my list.
Chris Playfair?
Chris Playfair is actually going to be in Windsor.
He's heading back.
He had to go to.
Had to head back early.
Nathan Torkia will be a goalie coming out. In my Kean Washcrook, who's playing for Mississauga. Nathan Allenson in Barrie. And then Matt Anushka will be the other goalie. So we've actually advertised it as Team Anushka versus Team Torkia. And on Thursday, we're going to do a draft beat with the two goalies. So it'll be nice. And then Kyle Wood, also 96 born. Mentioning that team, and Steve Lawrence, who are both playing in the AHL right now.
So those are two pretty good goaltenders. I was going to say Nathan Torkia. He's also a good slow pitch player. Did you know that? Nathan Torkia, a Wixa slow pitch champion with the Waterloo Oxford Crusaders. I'm sure Gavin Albrecht will be happy to hear me mention that. Let's get to Anushka. He was so good for you last year. He made so many big saves in so many key moments, got drafted into the OHL. Now he's going off to play for the Waterloo Siskins. I know he's training with the Matt Smith Goaltending School in Cambridge this summer. What is it about Matt Anushka that makes him just a special talent?
Well, it actually probably started in his Bantam year, dealing with him when I'd call him up. He practiced with us a couple times when we had some injuries. But I brought him to the OHL Cup, and when my 01s lost out with the group with Kean Washcroft and Allenson, when we lost out, obviously the guys are sad, but I had a group of Bantams, and Matt was one of them. And I remember Matt came and shook my hand and said, "Thank you very much for this opportunity." And he circled the date for the following season, saying, "We will be back here as a team." And unfortunately we fell short, but that's kind of where Matt's maturity and mindset is always looking forward to his next goal. And when we landed in training camp, he was ready to go, and we brought in a goalie from out of town to fill our number 2 spot. And what Matt did for Graham was he raised his own level, meaning Matt pushed himself, but it also helped Graham to kind of say, let's go along. And we ran in some injury problems with Matt late. He got injured in the Brantford series, and Graham just stepped in and took over. And a lot of that
wasn't he good too?
He was outstanding.
Gosh, Graham goes into that situation. You're playing this very competitive, tightly contested first-round series against the Brantford 99ers, and Anushka gets hurt, I believe, in Game 2. If I remember correctly, and Graham steps in, and let's give full marks to Graham as well. And this team last year, yes, you ended up losing to Brantford in an overtime goal in an elimination game, but there's some kids on that team that I think about. Chase Broda, Zach McCann, Eric Martin, Reed Oliver. These are all quality kids, and this was an excellent group despite the fact that you didn't get to where you wanted to get to.
Yeah. And I always said to our guys, like, we were one goal short of going to the semifinals, and the team that beat us won it all. It was really, that's how close it can be, and you're right, give Graham credit. And but that was where I think Matt also shines a little bit too, as such a mature 15-year-old that without even knowing it, he was helping our teammates, right? Even when he was injured, he was there, and you can just tell he feeds off that. And I had him on Team Alliance for the OHL Gold Cup, and same thing. He became a leader there. And I always said he's a 30-year-old trapped in a 15-year-old's body. He's just very mature.
He really is. Yeah. And he's very well spoken too. I'm trying to just go through my head. We're sort of playing this name game a little bit, mentioning a bunch of names. But there's one kid that really comes to mind who played for you a couple of years ago, Mitch Holscher.
Yes.
Drafted by the New Jersey Devils into the NHL, and you can speak to this. Hockey is about building blocks. You start at minor midget, you progress to different levels. He ended up playing with the Ottawa 67s last year for a good chunk of games, and then gets drafted by the New Jersey Devils. When you look at, and he's one of so many guys that have gone on to the next level from the Waterloo Minor Midget program, but that's got to be the gratifying part for you, knowing that you had these guys at the grassroots level and you helped form them and shape them into the men that they've ultimately become today. Because if you're getting drafted into the NHL at 18 years old, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that.
Yeah, and you're right. I talked about the relationship building on those days when a kid's getting drafted, whether it's OHL, NHL, and they're reaching out to you and saying thank you. That's the most gratifying part, right? I mean, winning championships and all that is great, but that relationship building and seeing guys progress, whether it's NHL, OHL, or that's very gratifying. But to Mitch Holscher's credit, I remember in Bantam year, I was coaching Bantam and minor midget that year, 2 years, and I remember watching a young Mitch being such a smart player. And the one thing I asked him to work on this summer was just kind of reeling in his kind of passion for the game and directing it properly.
Right.
And his minor midget year, he led our team.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah. He is a very smart player, and he'll figure out whatever next level that will be.
Yeah.
And he's progressing through the OHL, and one day he'll play pro hockey, and hopefully it's in the NHL. And if it is, that's awesome for him. Yeah. But he'll play pro hockey, and he'll figure out a way to be a very smart player.
It's fun, isn't it? Who are some of the other guys that come to mind right away?
Well, like I said,
10 years of memories. Here we go down memory lane with Shawn Dietrich.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, again, alumni time, I can go through every guy. But for example, probably, one of my most talented players was Boris Kachuk, who just really won a gold medal with the World Juniors.
Sault Ste. Marie's playing in the OHL,
Yeah, and hoping to make Tampa Bay, whether it's this year or, down the road with him. Logan Stanley, who was a first-round NHL pick, a big, strong defenseman, played on the same team as Boris that year. We had a nice little crew. Chase Campbell, probably one of my fiercest competitors, most passionate players. Kyle Platzer was one of my favorite guys to deal with. Chris Playfair, just a well-spoken,
mature young man.
Yeah. Brendan Schneider, who is actually going to Mercyhurst, the NCAA this year. Trevor Sauter, who just finished at Laurier, was our captain in the 94s. Kean Washcroft, Nate Allenson, Kyle Wood, Stevie Lawrence, Keegan Getz.
This is like asking me who my favorite interviews were for all these years of doing these media things, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And you add Matt Anushka to that, Chase Broda. I can go on and on and on. And we've had so many guys and play different roles, and that's what's nice about the alumni is getting a chance to reach out and talk to every guy, whether it's sorry I can't come, but then you have a chance to catch up with them. And the more guys that come, it's great, because that's why I tell guys come out, because it's just great to catch up with them.
For more highlights, visit our website 519sportsonline.ca. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.